What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I know I'm getting this video out kind of late today, as it turns out really late because one, it took me basically all day to get all of this together because I am doing my top candidates for the Miami Dolphins head coaching search. I have 8 candidates on my list, and I spent the whole day putting together all of these fancy graphics and stuff like that so I can go through these guys for you, give you their resumes and so on and so forth, and tell you what I think about them and, whatever. And so I do list them from 1 to 8, 1 being my favorite, 8 being my least favorite. The last guy on the list wouldn't even be on the list if it wasn't for the fact that he does appear to be a realistic candidate for the Miami Dolphins. So I am going to talk about that guy. To be clear, at the top of my list, it starts off with like my dream candidates, even though they're not very likely to become the head coach of the Miami Dolphins coming up next. And actually, as it turns out, I actually just made this entire video. It was like 30 some odd minutes, 35 minutes, and I forgot to put my microphone down in front of me, so I couldn't hear myself at all, so I'm having to redo it. So that's part of the reason why it's taken so long. But anyway, I digress. Getting back to it, I have these 8 candidates. At the top are my dream candidates, and it starts with veteran guys that have Rolodexes, who've been around the league, who have pedigrees, who've been there, done that, seen everything, etc., etc., etc. And then it works its way down. I do have 2 candidates on here that are first-time head coach candidates, but other than that, it's pretty much all veteran guys. And so let's go ahead and jump right to it. As you will see, going into this first graphic, my number 1 choice, and really the only candidate that I would really actually get excited for, is current Michigan State coach Jim Harbaugh. Now, obviously, he's got the ties to Stephen Ross and stuff like that, etc., etc. But it does not look as though he is going to be leaving Michigan. It does appear as though Jim Harbaugh will likely be staying a Wolverine. And then I saw reports that the most likely scenario, if he does go to the NFL, will be the Raiders. But it does appear as if he is getting some contract concessions and they're reworking his contract. So most likely he should be staying at Michigan. And I don't see that, it's a pipe dream for me. It's just something to dream about and whatever. But he would be my number 1 guy. And for some of the previously mentioned reasons, he's a veteran guy who could come in, take control. I think that he has a wonderful pedigree, which I'll get to in just a minute, right? But one of the biggest reasons is not only do I think that he could direct Chris Greer and when it comes to the draft and personnel and help him, go in the right direction and have success as a GM. But I think this is the only coach on here that Stephen Ross would legitimately just completely hand over the reins and not meddle. Because when Stephen Ross does meddle, it doesn't turn out very good for us because he's terrible at making football decisions. So my number 1 dream candidate is Jim Harbaugh. Real quick, let's take a look at his pedigree. He did play as a quarterback at Michigan State. That's where he went to college and was a quarterback there from 82 to 86. He then played in the NFL as a quarterback from 87 to 01. So having that experience as a player is always going to be a positive for me too, as well, because to me, the probability of them being able to understand what it's like to be a player, obviously, it's 100% because he was, so he does know what it's like to be a player, but it makes it the probability of him being able to handle different personalities and navigate that kind of environment a lot better. And so it's usually a pro for me on the pros and cons list. So I do like that he was a former player as well. 87 to 01 in the NFL. He was drafted 26th overall by the Bears. He played for the Bears from 87 to 93, the Colts from 94 to 97, the Ravens in 98, the Chargers from 99 to 2000, the Lions and Panthers in 01. And that is where he ended his career. During that time, though, in 1990, he did win the NFC Central Division. He became the NFC Central champions in 1991. They did make it to the NFC wild card. In 95, they made it and I believe that was when he was with the Colts, made it to the AFC Championship, but they lost in the AFC Championship, but made it to the AFC Championship. So obviously some experience in the postseason as a player, and then AFC wild card berth in 96. He actually, the last 8 years of his playing career, he started coaching with his dad, Jack Harbaugh, and became an assistant at Western Kentucky from 1994 to 2001. He then moved to and that was obviously the last 8 years of his playing career as well. He was doing both at the same time. So kind of got a little bit of a jump start while he was a player for his coaching career. In 02 to 03, he then becomes the Raiders quarterback coach. This is where he got his first Super Bowl, though, Super Bowl 37. They did win the Super Bowl, and he won the Super Bowl as their quarterback's coach. He then became the head coach of University of San Diego from 02 to 03, where he did win back-to-back Pioneer Football League championships from 05 to 06. Then becomes the head coach of Stanford University from 07 to 2010. He made it to the Sun Bowl in 09, the Orange Bowl in 2010, and also won the Woody Hayes Coach of the Year during that time. So some accolades there. And he's got, some pretty impressive accolades and a resume from his time in college and the NFL. Because then after that, he moves to the San Francisco 49ers as their head coach from 2011 to 2014. And the first 3 seasons he was there, they were 8-8 in his final season, even though they still did have, I believe it was like top 10 or top 15 offensive and defensive units. But the first 3 years, they became NFC West championships and also made it to the NFC championship game, even though they didn't win. All 3 of those years from 11 to 13. And then obviously, most recently, from 2015 to present, he's been the head coach of Michigan State. He's been to the Citrus Bowl with them in 2015 and 2019, Orange Bowl in 16 and 21, Outback Bowl in 2017, Peach Bowl in 2018, and won the Associated Press College Football Coach of the Year in 2021. So obviously a pretty impressive resume there for the veteran coach. Again, he's my number one. It's a pipe dream. I get it. I know. But he's the number one option for me in this cycle. Real quick to add to that, he won Big Ten Championship 2021, 2 Big Ten East Division Championships, 2018-2021, obviously to correspond to those bowl games that I mentioned, NFL Coach of the Year in 11. Let's see. He also made it to the Pro Bowl in 1995 as a player. He made it into the Indianapolis Colts Ring of Honor. He was the NFL Comeback Player of the Year in 95, the George S. Hollis Courage Award in 97, Chicago Tribune Silver Football in 86, and he was a first-team All-Big Ten in 1986 as a player. His career NFL statistics, touchdown to interception ratio 129 to 117 with 26,288 passing yards and a 77.6 passer rating. So kind of went meh, but whatever, right? Obviously the important part here for his resume is the head coaching record. In the regular season, as an NFL coach, he's 44-19-1 with a .695 winning percentage, so really impressive, and he's the most winningest coach on this list. College, he's 117-45. In the regular season, .722. When it comes to the postseason in the NFL, he's 5-3, a .625. In college, not quite as good, 3-6 record with a .333. But obviously still a ton of experience and everything, and an okay record. I mean, obviously you'd want to be, over 500 there at least. But, I mean, tons of experience. Add it to the resume. It's just more shit there, right? And for his career, he's 49-22-1 in the NFL with a .688 winning percentage and a .7 winning percentage in college, with a 119-51 record. So again, my number one pipe dream candidate, obviously probably not going to happen, which is sad. And as it turns out, the last 2 candidates on this list, as I'm hearing and reading and so on and so forth, appear to be the most likely candidates that the Dolphins will end up taking. So you know, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Anyway, so moving on, let's go ahead and move to head coaching candidate number 2. Although, I'm just to be honest, this is a real pipe dream. And as you can see by the graphic here, it is Sean Payton. The reason why is because there was news today that he decided to step away from the team, although it looks like he's retiring. But since he became available, I added him to this list. Just real quick, just to run through it. Obviously, I mean, he has previous experience with a quarterback similar to Tua Tagovailoa and Drew Brees. He's obviously a veteran guy, got a Rolodex, all of that stuff. He's got a damn good pedigree, playing career. He used to play as well, so he used to be... so he does have that aspect to him. He was a quarterback from 1987 to 88. His rise through the ranks, if you will, was actually very interesting because he only played those couple years. But if you look, he started off actually in the Arena Football League in 1987 with the Chicago Bruisers and the Pittsburgh Gladiators, spent a little time with both teams. And then they ended up selling his rights to the Canadian Football League, the Ottawa Rough Riders, where he spent a little of 1987 with them. And that was also during the strike year in the NFL, because then he made it to the NFL with the Chicago Bears in 87. So jumped around a little bit. Interesting, right? I'll make sure to mention to you his stats here in a minute as well. But obviously not very good. And didn't play for very long. But that's obviously not where Sean Payton's career really takes its, gets its glory, right? It's obviously when he became a coach and everything he's done since then. But to end his playing career, he did go to the UK Budweiser National League. So, overseas in the UK, right, in 1988, and he did make it as a quarterfinalist. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, for his coaching career, 1988 to present with a question mark, because I do hear that there is some chance he could be going somewhere else, but it looks like there is a high probability that he's actually looking to retire. So that's why the question mark, because there's nothing official yet from what I've seen, but we'll see how that plays out. San Diego State is where he started off from 88 to 89. He did actually have 2 stints there. His second one was from 92 to 93. He was an offensive assistant the first time around and their running backs coach the second time around. After San Diego State the first time, he goes to Indiana State in 1990 to 91 as their running back and wide receiver coach. Then he goes to Miami University as their offensive coordinator from 94 to 95. Then he becomes Illinois' quarterback coach in 96. The Eagles quarterback coach from 97 to 98. That's where he made his jump into the NFL. Then he goes to the Giants from 99 to 2002. He was their quarterbacks coach in 99, offensive coordinator in 2000 to 2002. That is where he ended up winning. He won a Super Bowl with them, with the Giants, which was 35, became Super Bowl champion for the first time there, and they also made a wild card in 2002. Dallas Cowboys was his next stop, 2003 to 05 as their assistant head coach and quarterbacks coach, and then obviously the majority of his time and really the most prominent time that he spent was with the New Orleans Saints as their head coach from 06 to 2021, Super Bowl, and became Super Bowl 44 champions with Drew Brees obviously during that time, and so that was his second Super Bowl, and he also became AP Coach of the Year in 2006. So again, another one of my dream candidates, Sean Payton. It's super not realistic, but I wanted to throw him in there just because he became available today. His career NFL statistics, he has a touchdown interception ratio of 0 and 1. Passing yards 79 and a completion percentage of 34.8. His career arena statistics, he has a touchdown interception ratio of 0 and 3, 47 passing yards, and a 35.7 completion percentage. Obviously didn't do very much, but his head coaching record now as in the regular season is 152 and 89 with a .631. Postseason, he's 9 and 8 with a .529 winning percentage, and overall for his career, he's got 161 wins, 97 losses, and a .624 winning percentage. So love Sean Payton. He's a great coach. Wish he would come here, but probably not going to happen. All right, moving on to number 3. As you can see here, it is Jim Caldwell, a coach that used to be with the Dolphins at one point, which we will get to in just a minute. Another veteran guy, got a Rolodex, been around, so on and so forth. I would be, I'd be cool with Jim Caldwell. I would be all right with that. I think he'd be a solid hire. Obviously, he's my third candidate on this list, and we have yet to get to the portion. We still got a couple more candidates to go before I start getting indifferent about the candidates, and then it's really only the last candidate on this list that I wouldn't take at all. And wouldn't be on the list if it wasn't for the fact that he actually seems to be a realistic option. So anyway, back to Jim Caldwell. His coaching career began in 1977 all the way to 2019, because ever since 2019, after he left us, I think he's just done consultant work and hasn't actually gotten back into coaching, although that could change. He could become a head coach again soon. He started off as an Iowa graduate assistant in 1977, then went to Southern Illinois as their wide receivers coach from 78 to 80, then Northwestern offensive assistant in 81. Then he went to Colorado as their wide receivers coach from 82 to 84, Louisville's wide receiver coach in 85, Penn State's quarterbacks coach from 86 to 92, Wake Forest head coach from 93 to 2000. Obviously been to some pretty prominent colleges throughout his career as well, so that is interesting and intriguing, and part of why he's probably got a decent Rolodex and connections and stuff like that. He then did break into the NFL though with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as their quarterbacks coach in 01, Indianapolis Colts from 02 to 2011. He was their quarterbacks coach and assistant head coach from 02 to 08, became their official head coach in 2009 to 2011, and he won Super Bowl 41 when he was with the Colts. Baltimore Ravens was his next stop from 2012 to 2013 as their quarterbacks coach and interim offensive coordinator during the 2012 season, their full-fledged offensive coordinator in 2013, and he won Super Bowl 47 with the Ravens. It always takes me a half a second to make sure I get these Roman numerals correct. But anyway, 47 with, I guess I probably could have just put the number and made it easier on myself, but whatever. Anyway, for the graphic, it does look nice with the, Roman numerals. Anyway, after that, he became the Detroit Lions head coach from 14 to 17, and then became the Miami Dolphins quarterbacks coach and assistant head coach in 2019. And then, like I said, I think he's just been doing like consultant work and stuff like that. Basically, his head coaching record, he's 62-50 with a .554 win percentage. He's 2-4 in the postseason, .333. And for his career, when it comes to college, he's got a 26-63 record, so not very good when he was in college, although a lot of that was obviously as like an assistant coach and stuff like that, so .292. And then NFL, he's 64-54 with a .542 win percentage. All right, let's keep this moving. We are now moving to the fourth candidate on my list, another former player, another veteran coach with a decent pedigree. As you can see, it is Buffalo Bills defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier. He began his playing career as a cornerback in 1981 to 85. He was with the Chicago Bears during that time and did actually win Super Bowl 20, became a Super Bowl champion in 1985 with the Bears. He began his coaching career in 88 all the way till present is currently going, obviously. He began his career at Trinity International University as their head coach from 88 to 96. He then moved on to the University of Illinois as their defensive backs coach from 97 to 98. Stayed in the same role with the Eagles as he broke into the NFL from 99 to 02. Then he became the Cincinnati Bengals defensive coordinator from 03 to 04. Then went to the Colts from 05 to 06, defensive assistant in 05, defensive backs coach and assistant head coach in 06. He won Super Bowl, 41 with the Colts while he was there. Minnesota Vikings was his next stop, 2007 to 2013. He was their defensive coordinator in 2007, defensive coordinator, assistant head coach, and then ultimately an interim head coach in 2008 to 2010 before becoming their official head coach in 2011 to 2013. After that, he went to the Tampa Bay Bucks as their defensive coordinator from 14 to 15, back to the Ravens rather as their defensive backs coach in 2016, and then to the Buffalo Bills where he is currently from 17 to present as their defensive coordinator and assistant head coach. Just a little additional for him, his career NFL statistics as a player. He played in 65 games, 20 interceptions, 1 sack, 2 fumble recoveries, 77 return yards, and 2 defensive touchdowns. As a head coach, his record in the regular season is not great. 21, 32, and 1, a .398 winning percentage. He's 0-1 in the postseason, a 0% winning percentage, and 21, 33, and 1 over his total career with a .391 winning percentage. And part of the reason why he's down at number 4. Number 5 on this list, as we transition here, and you can see in this graphic, is Dan Quinn. I'm not really huge on Dan Quinn. That's why he's number 5. But he does have, he is a veteran guy. He does have connections and a bit of a Rolodex, I'm sure, right? He has been around for a while, and he has a decent pedigree, a decent resume. So, I wouldn't hate it, although I do. This is actually where I start to get a little indifferent when it comes to the candidates. This is the first, head coach, veteran head coach candidate that I'm, really indifferent about. At the end of the day, I mean, I'd give him a chance, but I've been hearing reports that he's probably going to be going somewhere else, so we probably won't even have to worry about it. And we can just keep it moving. So real quick, let's take a look at him. His coaching career began in 1994 all the way till now. He's still coaching. Started at William & Mary as their defensive line coach from 94. Stayed in that same position at VMI in 95. Then goes to Hofstra from 96 to 2000. He was their defensive line coach from 96 to 99. Their defensive line coach / defensive coordinator in 2000. After that, he breaks into the NFL as the San Francisco 49ers defensive quality control coach from 01 to 02, and then 03 to 04 with the Niners defensive line coach. He was with them from 01 to 04. He then becomes our defensive line coach for the Dolphins from 05 to 06, the Jets defensive line coach from 07 to 08, Seattle Seahawks from 2009 to 2010 is their defensive line coach and assistant head coach. He then actually goes back to college for a couple years as the Florida Gators defensive coordinator and defensive line coach. So obviously, defensive side of the ball, it's always been defensive line, defensive coordinator for him from 2011 to 2012 there. Then back to the Seattle Seahawks as their defensive coordinator from 2013 to 14, where he became a Super Bowl champion. And it is Super Bowl 48. Super Bowl 48. Right? And then he goes to the Atlanta Falcons for his first head coaching career, or first head coaching gig from 2015 to 2020. I'll give you his record in a minute. He did win the Salute to Service Award in 2016, so yay for him. But honestly, I think Dan Quinn, similarly to how I see Brian Flores, if I'm being honest, I think his ceiling really is defensive coordinator, and that's also one of the reasons why he's number 5 on this list. And then obviously from 2021 to currently, he has been the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. And then, as I said, I will quickly give you his record as a head coach. So in the regular season, he was 43-42, .506 win percentage, so just barely over 500. Postseason, though, he's 3-2 with a .6 winning percentage and a 46-44 overall record, .511. All right, now we get our very first time head coach candidate on this list. As you can see, it is Mike McDaniel. So, and I really like him. I am intrigued by him. I'll give you a little hint here. The next one is Brian Daboll. These two guys, part of the reason why they're so low on my list is because I just really don't want to do another first-time head coach. I think Daboll has the overall better resume. and he has been with, a team that has won some championships, so, which we'll get to in a minute. But I just overall, like, I've heard he's kind of abrasive and kind of hard to work with and stuff like that. I don't want any more of that. I am actually really intrigued by Mike McDaniel. So if I was going to go with a first-time head coach, I do agree with reason when he says that if you're going to go with a first-timer, just swing for the fucking fences, man. And so if I had to go with a first-time head coach, it would be Mike McDaniel. But taking a look at his career so far, it began in 2005 all the way till now. Obviously, it began as an intern for the Denver Broncos in 2005. From 2006 to 2008, he became the Houston Texans Houston Texans offensive assistant. From 2009 to 2010, he actually became the Sacramento Mountain Lions running backs coach, and then came back to the NFL with the then Washington Redskins, now Washington football team, from 2011 to 2013, an offensive assistant from 11 to 12, and their wide receivers coach from 2013. He then went to the Cleveland Browns as their wide receivers coach in 2014, made his way over to the Falcons as an offensive assistant in 15 to 16, and then obviously has been with the 49ers ever since from 2017 until now, first as their run game coordinator from 17 to 20, and now as their offensive coordinator 2021 to present. And they are still in the playoffs, as is the Bills. Brian Daboll and Leslie Frazier, two of the candidates there, they are all still in the playoffs. Mike McDaniel, he didn't have a playing career. He did go to Yale, though, so he's a smart guy. Didn't have a playing career, hasn't been a head coach yet, so obviously nothing additional to add to that. And so we will now transition and move on to candidate number 7. As previously mentioned, and as you see by this graphic, it is Brian Daboll. So coaching career began 1997 all the way till now. Started at William & Mary as a volunteer assistant in 97. Michigan State graduate assistant from 98 to 99. He then went to the Patriots from 2000 to 2006. This is where he won 3 of his 5 Super Bowls. He actually won all 5 of them with the Patriots. And if I'm keeping it kind of, real, Brian Daboll seems to have lucked out a little bit because a lot of, like, all of his championships, he just so happened to be with the Patriots or with Alabama when they won some of these. So now that's not to say he's a bad coach or anything, but he has obviously had a little bit of luck on his side. But anyway, from 2000 to 2001, he was a defensive assistant with the Patriots. From 2002 to 2006, he was their wide receivers coach. And as a Patriot during that first stint, he obviously won 3 Super Bowls, which included 36, 38, and 39. Then he went to the New York Jets as their quarterbacks coach from 2007 to 2008, Cleveland Browns offensive coordinator from 2009 to 2010, Miami Dolphins offensive coordinator in 2011. So again, another familiar face when it comes to coaches who have previous experience with us. Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator 2012. I'll mention that in a minute. New England Patriots tight ends coach in 13 to 16. Obviously then won his next 2 Super Bowls, which made 4 and 5, which is Super Bowl 49 and 50. And then he went to Alabama for a season as their offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach in 2017, where they won college football national championship. And that was also one of Tua's years. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was his freshman season. And so he does have some familiarity with Tua and is one of the potential, pros as to why he could be, a good fit or whatever. But I do hear Brian Daboll is at the top of the list. That is what I'm gathering from various reports and things that I'm hearing and stuff like that. So looks like Brian Daboll is number 1 on this list, and then the guy that comes up next for me is apparently the runner-up. So, but anyway, and then he's been the Bills offensive coordinator from 2018 to present. Again, obviously they are still in the playoffs, about to go to the AFC Championship game as the Niners are about to go to the NFC Championship game, right? So, and he did win AP NFL Assistant Coach of the Year in 2020. And then again, he doesn't have any, playing experience or any head coaching experience, so nothing to add in that department. All right, and that does move us on to the final one that is on the list. And again, I'm only putting him on the list because I'm hearing that he is a realistic option for the Dolphins and appears to be the runner-up to Brian Daboll. And as you can see here, number 8 on this list is Vance Joseph. I do like, though, that he was a player. Of course, he does have familiarity with the Dolphins. He was here for 1 year in 2016 when we did make it to the playoffs. But, you know, not really a coach that I'm excited about if we end up hiring him. I'll give him a chance, obviously, and we'll see what he can do, but not really high on him if he ends up being the guy. It's certainly not going to get me all that excited, if I'm being honest. But anyway, his playing career, he had just 2 years in 95, 96, 95 with the Jets, 96 with the Colts. He then began his coaching career in 99 to present. From 99 to 03, he was with Colorado as a graduate assistant in 99 to 01, and then became their defensive backs coach in 02 to 03. He then became the defensive backs coach for Bowling Green in 04. From 05 to 2010, he was with the San Francisco 49ers. So again, obviously too, a number of these candidates have, you know, ties to the Niners and stuff as well. Anyway, from 05 to 2010 with them as an assistant defensive backs coach in 05, and then their full-fledged defensive backs coach from 06 to 2010. Then he became the Houston Texans DBs coach from 11 to 13, the Bengals defensive backs coach from 14 to 15, Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator, his first elevation in 2016. And honestly, again, with him, I just kind of feel like he's probably best suited as a coordinator, if I'm being honest. But anyway, he became our defensive coordinator in 2016 before being let go the next year, or rather, he took an advancement opportunity because then he became the head coach. We let him go. We let them interview him, the Denver Broncos. He became their head coach from 2017 to 2018. Didn't have a ton of success. Then they let him go, and he's become the defensive coordinator for the Cardinals from 19 to present. And who knows, though? I mean, he certainly could be a better head coach the second time around, but probably not here in this organization. But you never know. And like I said, I do hear that he is actually one of the more realistic possibilities. So there you go. There you have it. That is the final candidate. And just to give you a couple extra little bit of tidbits, his regular season record as a head coach is 11-21, a .344. Obviously, that was his time with the Denver Broncos. Not very good. And again, he's number 8 on my list. So there you have it. It took me all fucking day to get this put together because prominently it took most of my time on these graphics. Sorry, they're not the perfect, you know, I wish they could be a little better. I tried really hard. I did the best I could. I am still getting my feet wet when it comes to, you know, or rather, I guess the way to put it is I'm still very much working on my skill set when it comes to video and photo editing and stuff like that. So I'm still very raw. I hope you guys are all right with that. I hope you do appreciate it, though. I did put a ton of work into it today, so I hope you guys like it. And with that, I am going to wrap this up. Before I do, though, make sure you check out the Rave On Sports App, the new fan-driven sports app for all of your sports, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, college, whatever you like, they got it, and they're looking to enhance your game day experience with live play-by-play coverage, live chats with other fans and content creators like myself, as well as providing you with an arena to dispute all of the terrible officiating. So make sure you look for the links to that in the description box. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts, share my channel and videos with your friends and family, leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. Of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at DillonTartaro, as well as on Instagram at Dolphins_with_Dillon. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.
7 seconds left. Tannehill will throw it. And this will end it after the shuttle. Miami runs around. Circling. Oh, no. Gronkowski did not be able to go. Touchdown. Tannehill's right. Oh, miracle. Miraculous in Miami. Stills to Parker to done it. They keep their season alive. 69 yards. Wow. Pure joy. Miami wins it.